We will be discussing Cancer Treatment Centers of America. This video is produced by Kate Williams, Kayla Durstein, Brittany Milton, and Cheyenne Newland. Cancer takes the lives of hundreds of thousands of individuals each year, but a particular life taken changed how many receive cancer treatment. This was the life of a mother whose son, Richard J. Stevenson, possessed the drive to change the face of cancer treatment. He made this aspiration a reality by founding the Cancer Treatment Centers of America in 1988. Cancer Treatment Centers of America, or also abbreviated CTCA, is a for-profit entity that is composed of a network of 5 hospitals and 5 outpatient facilities across the United States. This healthcare system serves cancer patients who are a population of strong individuals who fight for their lives and deserve only the best treatment, as well as their families. CTCA provides treatment to cancer patients of all ages with many different types of cancer at all stages. CTCA embodies a unique standard of care which will be discussed and emphasized throughout learning about CTCA. We will be discussing the social, economic, and political factors that influence this standard of care and impact the creation of the CTCA. Due to the hardships and stress put on patients and their families, clear navigation through this system is essential and will also be explained later on. Lastly, the strengths and weaknesses of CTCA will be stated. In order to better understand a cancer patient's journey through treatment, we interviewed Mrs. Milton, who has taken on this journey herself. She allowed us to receive insight into the values and wishes patients look for in cancer treatment, which we were then able to compare to CTCA values and ways of treatment. First, we asked Ms. Milton to give us a little bit of background on her cancer journey.
Hello, my name is Julie Milton. I have chronic myelogenous leukemia, which is also known as CML. I was diagnosed back in October of 2012. Before I was diagnosed, I kept going to my doctor and telling them I'm tired and I don't feel good and just really exhausted and everything. And the doctor just said, "Oh, well, you work nights," which I'm a nurse, and that you're getting older. So I thought, oh, maybe this is the way I'm supposed to feel. And I ended up going to the doctor again, but my doctor was out of town, so I seen a different physician, which I think her background was in endocrinology. But anyhow, she ran some different blood work on me, and the blood work came back that I had blast in my blood. And so my doctor seen that, and finally he got a hold of me and told me, "You need to go right away and get your blood work drawn again." And I did, and he said, you have blast, and we need you go to the hospital and get admitted today, because that usually blast indicates that you have leukemia. But luckily we discovered it, and I was over at Siteman, and I got to get a bone marrow biopsy to find out for sure what kind of leukemia I had, which showed that I had the CML, which is actually one of the better types to have. You chronically treat it. Then we started on chemo. There's just a lot of side effects with the chemos and getting adjusted to it and everything. And then it was about a year, and after a year, I was actually able to get back into remission where they couldn't find the blast cells in my blood.
Mr. Stevenson was driven to create an organization that provided care for the entire body rather than just to the organ or tissue involved with the cancer. Such a holistic approach emphasized patient-centered care. Due to his own experiences within the cancer treatment centers, Mr. Stevenson designed the Mother Standard of Care. This specific care brought oncologists and other healthcare professionals together as a team to focus on the needs and wants along with a span of advanced treatment options. Based on the mission CTCA set out to accomplish, we asked Mrs. Milton how she viewed her own care. Was it holistic, patient-centered, or cancer-centered?
My treatment was more like a holistic care treatment. They always checked and seen if there was anything you were having any side effects or if you were having any type of depression.
Mr. Stevenson created the CTCA at the right time because health maintenance organizations were decreasing in popularity, whereas preferred provider organizations were rising. He wanted more patient empowerment for everyone. This was one of his main goals due to his mother's unfortunate lack of autonomy. As you can see, the bar graph shows that in 1988, HMOs, health maintenance organizations, was 16% of the health plan enrollment, and PPOs, preferred provider organizations, was 11%. As the social aspects of the two health plans shifted, so did the percentage of enrollment. By 2000, you can see the enrollment for HMOs were 29% and PPOs were 42%. Due to the increase in PPOs, there were more self-referrals into the CTCA, so we asked Mrs. Milton if she was self-referred.
So my doctor was a BJC doctor, and part of BJC is Siteman, but I also worked there, and I've known a lot of people who went to Siteman, and I just know the research and the reputation, and I wanted to stay there.
Politics is a messy game some must play to keep a business afloat. Mr. Stevenson, as he partook in this game, stumbled slightly. He is a donor for the Freedom Works organization. They are a large donor for Tea Party candidates. Mr. Stevenson is interested in this group of candidates because they are more likely to remove the oversight of insurance reimbursements. Therefore, there are more profits made within the CTCA. From the consolation agreement between the CTCA and the Federal Election Commission, this timeline was created. In 2002, CTCA began the Community Management Incentive Bonuses, which turned into a method of providing funds for political contributions. Starting in 2009, the CTCA administrative staff fundraised about $12,412.43 for federal candidates and were slowly reimbursed up until 2014. Finally, the CMI bonus program was shut down in 2014. A former employee of CTCA expressed their concern for the economically driven organizations lying and deceiving patients and families. The first more broad concern was for the incentive behind the courses of treatment. This employee states that an example was that doctors who make the critical decisions about whether or not another round of chemotherapy are likely to be of benefit. This person is saying that doctors receive commission for how many patients he or she treats. The second concern was when a commercial on TV deceiving people to think the alternative medicine clinic was a majority of the hospital. The former employee states that the alternative medicine clinic consists of a few small office suites. It was also explained that most of the patients that visited this clinic would not receive more than a pack of supplements. One can then infer that the CTCA contributed money into the infomercials but did not follow through with the sufficient clinic just to save money for other expenses. Due to the uneasy outlook Mr. Stevenson had on finances and political status rather than patient care, we asked Mrs. Milton if she felt as if her needs and wants were focused on throughout her course of treatment.
Yes, the healthcare team did focus on my needs and wants and things that anything I needed. Siteman's a great place, and they're make sure that you have your own coordinator, and it's a great place to go.
The Cancer Treatment Centers of America aim to make the process as easy as possible. If someone wishes to become a patient of CTCA, whether it be a hospital or an outpatient care center, they should first call one of the CTCA's oncology information specialists at this number. The oncology specialists are available 24/7 and on the call will conduct a preliminary check to determine how the patient's insurance plan benefits might work and possibly schedule the first appointment. If there is something that cannot be figured out with the insurance right away, they will look into it and get back to the patient within 24 hours. CTCA works with commercial insurance plans, private insurance through the Affordable Care Act, and individual policies. Medicare and Medicare Part C are accepted by most CTCA facilities along with Medicaid occasionally. Some forms of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and TRICARE plans are accepted. Once insurance benefits have been confirmed, the oncology specialist will go over the patient's insurance with them and answer any questions they may have, as well as set up the initial appointment. If the patient does not live close, CTCA will help the patient make travel arrangements and accommodations. If the patient's insurance benefits were not confirmed, the oncology information specialist will work with the patient to see if they would be confirmed at any of their other hospital or outpatient care center locations. Pre-certification from insurance is usually required by most insurance companies. This process is completed by the oncology information specialist. CTCA bills the insurance for treatments performed, and the patient is only responsible for copays, coinsurance, or deductibles. If a problem arises with the insurance or payment, the oncology information specialist helps to resolve the problem. Insurance plans play a big role in someone's access to treatment. We asked Mrs. Milton if she could explain the impact that insurance played in her treatment plan.
Okay, as far as my insurance, since it was close to the end of the year in October when I was diagnosed, of course I met my deductible right then at the end of the year, and then shortly the next year, so within like 3 to 4 months time I had $10,000 out of pocket, so not great at the end of the year to get sick.
Setting up the initial appointment with the oncology specialist is fairly easy, and there are 3 ways to go about it. If the patient lives within 100 miles of the Chicago or Tulsa hospitals, they could possibly be seen there within as little as 24 hours. The Philadelphia hospital has 24-hour appointments available, so if the patient lives close to there, they could go and take advantage of that. If neither of these apply, the patient will follow the general path for making the initial appointment. At this point, travel arrangements would be made and a packet of information is sent to the patient's home. An oncology nurse calls the patient to review their medical history and answer any questions. The initial appointment, the doctor reviews their medical history with them and starts performing a wide variety of tests and procedures. The consultation generally lasts 3 to 5 days in order to make a comprehensive treatment plan. After the plan has been reviewed, the patient decides if they want to follow through with that plan at the center or not. If they decide they want to continue, their oncology specialist will help them set up their first appointment for treatment and becomes their point person for any questions they may have throughout the entirety of the process. Through CTCA, the patient has many healthcare workers available to them, such as a dietitian, chiropractor, and/or other supportive care service providers. In order to understand how initial appointments at cancer centers truly worked, we asked Mrs. Milton what her first appointment at the cancer center was truly like.
For my first appointment at Simon, you always have like a navigator that kind of helps you know where to go and everything. Once you get up to the Simon 7th floor there, it's just, it's very humbling, it's very overwhelming. It was just, a lot of anxiety at first because then at that point I didn't know for sure what kind of leukemia I had. And you'll get your blood drawn and you go see the doctor. Just a lot of explaining and trying to understand. I always try to keep like a binder of everything and ask a lot of questions or write down my questions, and I recommend that to anybody newly diagnosed with any type of cancer.
As with any healthcare system, there will be strengths and weaknesses. This is also true for Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Thankfully, though, there are many strengths that help compensate for the weaknesses present within CTCA. The strengths are more apparent when comparing CTCA to other hospitals. Cancer Treatment Centers of America have a more integrative approach, whereas community hospitals provide more isolated treatments. The CTCA provides conventional cancer treatments as well as supportive care services as a part of every patient's treatment plan. Therefore, CTCA is also promoting healing of the body, mind, and spirit. Another strength of CTCA is the fact that they solely focus on cancer treatment. Community hospitals treat a wide range of diseases and conditions and also may not be as readily equipped to treat rare cases of cancer. Not only is CTCA solely focused on cancer treatment, they offer precise cancer treatment that can include treatment on the cellular level. In order to compare CTCA with Mrs. Milton's experience, we asked what she thought the strengths were during her course of treatment.
The the strengths I've seen within the Cancer Treatment Center, there's just so much research, so many people so compassionate about what they do, very knowledgeable about what they do. Any questions you have, there's always lots of materials, lots of people to refer to, and like I said, there's always coordinators there to help navigate your process, or if you have any questions, and kind of advocate for you.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America has many strengths, but some individuals claim these as false statements, which then can weaken the system. While CTCA treats the whole patient with a holistic approach, some of these services provided may only be to maximize revenue. Alternative therapies or treatments that are not scientifically proven may also be unnecessary expenses to patients. Another weakness that will also provide financial benefit to CTCA is how they pick and choose who they provide treatment to. They decide through a screening that is based on the insurance that the patient has. Private insurance and out-of-pocket payment is normally accepted, but Medicaid is often turned down. These two weaknesses resort back to the fact that CTCA is a for-profit organization that has a goal to increase revenue. A weakness that is not derived from financial motive is the lack of convenient locations. This creates more difficulty for patients to access the treatment if they are required to travel a long distance. The last weakness that we covered was the fact that CTCA cannot cure everyone who comes in to receive treatment, or even anyone who they should cure, even despite the decreases in mortality due to cancer. In order to compare CTCA with Mrs. Milton's experience, we asked what she thought the weaknesses were during her course of treatment.
The only weakness I would be concerned about is like as someone who didn't have a medical background, them not knowing, how to understand the diagnosis or what all it entails, and just making sure that they had it at a level they understood and they had someone to advocate for them if needed.
Through the initial drive Mr. Stevenson had to change how treatment of cancer operated, CTCA was founded and changed the lives of many. The patient-centered and innovative care provided by this healthcare system allows patients as well as families to feel comfortable and confident in their choice of facility for cancer treatment. Social, political, and economic factors shaped CTCA and led it to its mission, which is stated on this slide. With this statement in mind, as well as their motto of cancer care tailored to you, it is shown through the navigation of the system that support is always provided. While CTCA, from an outside point of view, looks unblemished due to its focus on the patient and innovative practices, there are weaknesses that are prevalent in this healthcare system that are most often driven from financial incentives. After learning about CTCA's approach to treatment, including both the strengths and weaknesses of the system, we asked Mrs. Milton if she had the option to receive care from CTCA, would she?
I was happy with the treatment and the care I received at Siteman, but Cancer Treatment Center of America, they are an exceptional place too, and I would consider that also. Thank you.
Keeping all aspects of CTCA in mind, a cancer patient is able to make an educated choice on where to start their journey. Just maybe this choice will be with CTCA and another life will be changed through the new face of cancer treatment Mr. Stevenson created.